for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's up guys, Venom Fire here, back with the video, and today we bring you guys another blitz and pass defense setup out of this big dime 146. You guys showed a lot of love on that one I uploaded a couple of days ago, so we're going to bring you guys another variation of this blitz, and it's going to allow you to actually blitz off the other side, as I mentioned out of this cover 2 sync one I did, that it really only works blitzing off the left hand side. So what do you do if they flip their play or they have numbers on that left side? Maybe they have a tight end blocking, their running backs on the left side. How can I blitz off the right side? And that's where today's video is going to bring us. The blitz we're going to be running is going to be this cover 3 sky at the top. Now, I did upload this play once again in the beginning of the year, probably around like 7 months ago, some long time. But we're going to bring again an updated version, updated pass defense setups. That probably wasn't when double Mabel was a meta thing. So we're going to bring some updated things. First things first, let's adjust our zone drops. Go curl flats 20 and flats at 5 for our cover 3 shell. In the big dime 146 formation, you can get safeties at linebackers. So that's going to help with not only our pass coverage, but our user as well. So throw some safeties at linebacker. Also, before we get into the video, I do want to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 17K. We just hit 16K. So if you could, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free. You could always unsubscribe later if you want to. But yeah, let's hop into this cover 3 sky. Now, this is actually a pretty good blitz because you can actually run it against both sides of the gun bunch. I'll show it against both sides of gun bunch, both when the tight end's on the right and obviously when the tight end's on the left. Now, it's going to be better when it's not on the tight end side. That's pretty much implied. But we'll just go ahead and show it from both sides. Let's just hop into a 5-man, 5-out setup out of this gun bunch. Once again, this works against other formations. I just like showing bunch because it's a little bit compressed. It's a little bit easier to set up against. But anyways, with that being said, let's hop into our actual setup now. Starting out, what I like to do is just press my defensive backs. So we're just going to press our DBs. And then going back to this cover 2 sync video that I did, if you want some more backstory, you can understand it a little bit better off of that. I'm going to reference that video a little bit today in some of the pass defense things that we do. But in that video, our setup was to shift our defensive line to the blitzing side. So now we're blitzing off that right side. I'm just going to shift my D-line to the right. The next step is going to be to slant my defensive line outside. And the last step is going to be to contain, which is double tapping RB or R1 on PlayStation. What I'm going to do is also move this cornerback in. Now, I want to find the sweet spot. There's a little bit of a sweet spot here where he's going to blitz a little bit better. Now, that's going to take some time to find out on your own. I'll show you guys where I think the best spot for him to blitz is going to be right about there. So the spot that I have him in is pretty close to where you want to blitz him off consistently. But yeah, so here's a base defense. I'll show off the blitz base, then we'll hop into some of the other pass defense things that we can do a little bit later. But let's just show off the base blitz against this play. And there you see screaming off the edge right there. That was stock cover 3. And you see how it gets there really quickly. It's pretty much the same speed as that cover 2 sync one, if not a little bit faster. Now, again, you see the blitz setup works the same. The player shifted out. You want him to engage with the right tackle. That's what we do. Of course, the right guard's not going to be able to slide over, and you just get a quick blitzing animation. Now, David Long's not the fastest by any stretch of the imagination, but he does get the job done, and it's very, very quick pressure. You see none of the routes even developed. But you'd have to quick snap something, really get it off, and you would need a gunslinger ability to do so. So overall, very quick blitz. But that's also rushing 4 in our actual pass defense setup. We're only going to be rushing 3, so I'm going to help you guys out with some coverage, because if you're rushing 4, that only gives you 2 hook curls to deal with, and if you want to go with a double Mabel setup, you're not going to be able to do so with only 2 hook curl zones, assuming you want to user an actual linebacker. So let's show off the blitz just a couple more times, and we'll hop into the pass defense once again. And all I'm doing is pressing, shifting to the right, slanting outside, and containing. As I mentioned, you want them in that kind of sweet spot right about here is good. And then we'll just let them snap the ball. Now, this blitz doesn't necessarily work every single time. You saw it didn't work there. No blitz is going to be 100% of the time. The 146 is no different. I mentioned that in the cover 2 sync video. It should be relatively consistent, though. You should get pressure more times than not, I would say. Just don't necessarily count on it every single play, and that's where we go with the 3-man rush. Because if I'm rushing 4 and it's a blitz and it doesn't work, then I'm in trouble, especially if he sends all 5 routes out. So that would be the biggest reason for concern. Right there, you see it actually didn't work, but what it forced was a disengage, which happens in this game a lot. Sometimes the way you intend for a blitz to actually get pressure doesn't work, which was the case here, but you see we actually got a disengage from Leonard Floyd, and this can be caused because it's a lot of shifting. You see how Aaron Donald, he actually loops around almost, and he engages with the right guard in the center. And this basically allows us to get a disengage. So it's still quick pressure even on the disengage. Not as big of a difference. But of course, you do want that cornerback to get through. So we'll try and get that to come through again. It was working a little bit better than it is right now in warm-ups. That always happens. You got to love Madden. But yeah, there we go. Right there, we get that quick pressure. And again, you see this blitz is not as clean, I would say, as the cover 2 sink one. You'll see a little bit more times where your cornerback's going to maybe bump into an offensive lineman or something like that, but for the most part, it should be pretty consistent with him getting off that edge. And once again, the more speed you have, the better. I probably should have put a faster corner there, but it is what it is. There you see, that's the perfect type of way you want to run it. You want to get him to just engage into an animation with the right tackle, and that's exactly what we did. Anyways, now we're going to go ahead and hop into our pass defense setup. I went ahead and I switched the play on offense just to give you a little bit of a better feel. I went with curl flat because curl flat's going to have a corner out, it's going to have a flat, it's going to have a little curl on the right, and then we have another ghost route with the running back. And then, of course, N'Keal Harry's going to be on that little curl spot route that sits in the middle of the field. So it's going to be a pretty good route combo just to show off where there might be holes in the defense as far as explaining goes. So we'll set everything up the same way. We're going to press. We're going to shade over the top. Or actually, you can kind of wait to shade over the top if you want to. But we're going to shift to the right, slant outside, and contain. Once again here, just get your guy in the contain. Right about there is good. Now let's hop into our actual setup. Now, as I mentioned, I want to go with a 3-man rush setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put X in his hard flat zone. And we're just going to rush those 3 guys right there off the edge. For our first setup, we're just going to actually leave the hook curl on the field. Now, it really depends on what the running back's doing. Now, is our running back out on a route? If he's blocking, perfect. This setup would work. Now, if he's on a route, of course, you're not going to necessarily know if he's blocking or not. I could go with this setup for starters. We'll see if he's going to continue to block his running back. If the blitz does get through out of cover 2 sink or whatever, he's going to probably start blocking his running back. If that's the case, then I can leave a double flat only on that bunch side and really use everything. For this play, again, the running back is going out on a route, so our blitz can actually work. But you'll see right there, I would use her and defend that in the flat. I have some help over in the middle of the field because I have another hook curl. Right there, I'm not sure why it didn't work. Again, rushing 3 is definitely not going to be as consistent as rushing 4. You guys probably know that, though. So a little bit unfortunate. It was working right before I started this video, so we'll see if we can get it to work there. And yes, you see, that is what you want. So that was the 3-man rush setup. Again, it's not going to be as consistent. You're rushing 3 people, so sometimes the linemen in this game aren't necessarily terrible at blocking, so or at least by Madden 20 standards, so you'll see how they're just all going to shift over just as they would and pretty realistically. But and again, with this blitz, it's not super consistent in just getting this guy to rush off the edge. You see, maybe we get a little bit bumped, but he ends up getting through, and that's what you want. Again, only rushing 3 people. And look at the coverage. Coverage pretty solid. You see how Edelman's going to be covered on his deeper corner out. This middle guy is covered relatively well by a hook curl, and then comes to the one spot and one hole in the defense, which is going to be this right side, mainly the flat for this first setup. So I'll show that setup once again, then we'll hop into some of the other ways that you can run it. And again, you can also bluff blitz completely out of this. You don't have to blitz out of 1-4-6. Just because you're in 1-4-6 doesn't mean you have to blitz a corner off the edge. I can go with stock coverage and still have success out of this formation. So that's one of the things that I like a lot, is the fact that some people think that you're in 1-4-6, you have to rush every single play. That's not the case 100%. You can actually just kind of chill right there. We end up lurking him. Again, the blitz doesn't work. I'm not sure the reason for this. Maybe it's because I'm in a specific play or not, but we'll see if we can get through, and then I'll show the other setup. Again, I do want to flip the bunch, so I'm going to go through pretty quickly here, but basically the other setup you can do is, he's going to send out his running back maybe. I go with something like this, where I'm just going to double flat on both sides, and we're just going to use the hook curl in the middle of the field. This just gives us a pretty specific or concrete user assignment. We don't have to worry about anything else besides the middle of the field. There we go. We get the blitz through again there, you saw. And that's really just what you want to see. Again, perfect coverage. We got double flats on both sides. We're just going to make our opponent have to make a read. That's really what you want to do when you're setting pressure. You want them to make a quick decision, and the flats will not be open with a defense like this. You can even move Taylor Rapp out. Another thing I do want to say with this is that you want to have an inside stuff, because look at how big that gap is. That's going to be very difficult to user. So you want an inside stuff. There we go. Now the blitz is coming through consistently, finally. So you guys don't think I'm crazy when I said it was working earlier. But pretty much, I'll show it one more time, then we'll hop into some of the other stuff. But like I mentioned, as far as abilities go, you probably want an inside stuff. You probably want some help in that middle of the field run game, because you will get ran on all day if you're just running a stock defense like this. But one more time, here's our pass defense. And there you see it didn't work again. So this one was probably around 50-50. 50-50. When I was trying it out earlier, it's around 60-40, 70-30. So it was a little bit worse in the video, but we're going to actually flip our bunch now and show it to the other side. Alright, now this is what it would look like if I flipped my bunch. Of course, the bunch would still be on the wide side, but I still want to blitz off the right, so they would probably be on the left hash mark. Now, I can't guarantee that this will work. It did work relatively well earlier, but of course, I guess that means nothing based upon this video. So we'll see if we can get it. Now, the biggest problem with this is just getting bumped. There's not really a way to prevent it, but depending on a perfect release, you can get free like that. That's exactly what you want to see. I'll show the replay of that, because that's a perfect run. Who knows how many times we'll get it to get through, but yeah, you see just a perfect release. We didn't get bumped at all, and that's ideal. You see we get the perfect animation. He gets through. I forgot to user that, so I'm just going to stand out there so we can actually get the pressure, but very quickly, he's going to have to quick snap, throw a flat as he did there to get the ball off, and that's exactly what you want to see. So again, you're just pressing, shifting, slanting up, containing. You could do all the same stuff that you're doing on the back end, but we'll see if we can get it through again here. This time we got bumps, so you see it's not as consistent. You can't complain really, because you're blitzing off a receiver's side, so it's pretty much expected to get bumped. Now, I was getting a little bit more of that first animations when I was trying this out, so hopefully we can kind of duplicate that. Even sometimes when he gets bumped, I've had it be able to get him free. As you see, we're getting actually dotted up right now. Of course, my pass defense isn't necessarily set, but we'll see if we can get it through a couple more times just to show that it works again. The main way is, of course, never to blitz off the bunch side. That's not something that you want to do if you can't. So only do it if you have to. There you see it worked again. Of course, he gets the ball off, but it's worked around 2 out of 5 times, I would say. Not a terrible ratio. It's something that you can do. Of course, I can go with this as well. Maybe I go with an adjustment like this, so I can actually double flat over here. I use Burgess. I put X in a hard flat. Now I'm actually going to try it. Let's see if it works with 3-man rush or gets even close. And right there, it did work. So who knows? Maybe this blitz might be glitchy. Again, it's not a terrible ratio for blitzing off the bunch side. Again, blitzes like this don't really work very effectively. It's not something that you should necessarily expect to work, especially with sending 3 people. Again, all I'm doing is setting everything up pretty much the same way. Really, it comes down to getting bumped by too much. There you see, looked like it would have worked, but you know, he doesn't get bumped. Now we don't get the right animation. When he does get bumped, we get the right animation. Really, you just need the perfect things to come together. Sometimes they don't, so it's a little bit unfortunate. We'll just try it a couple more times, see if we can get it to go through again. Right there, it didn't, because I think I had Darnold in the wrong spot once again, but let's try it a couple more times with the 4-man rush, and then we'll call it quits on the video. But overall, you see it's a pretty diverse blitz. The fact that you can get it to go through on both sides is pretty cool in my opinion, so we'll see if we can just get it to work. That time, again, the biggest problem is just they shift over very quickly, so even a split second in this year's game is going to make a big difference. So overall, I'm going to call the video there. You saw it worked around 2-3 times, although we didn't get the sack every time. Obviously, works pretty well from the normal side of the running back. But really, if you just combine these 2 blitzes, you'll be really good in the pass defense game against bunch, against trips. Overall, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and peace. I'm out of here.